YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Better late than never. We are going to talk about the new ABC XYZ deck. Now, upon release in Master Duel, I have played this deck out for a couple of times. Minor problem with this, or majority of Kaiba's decks, it tends to break from time to time. So, nevertheless, we managed to make this deck a little bit more consistent, or less bricky, I would say. So typically, what we summed up so far for the deck is one-offs for each of the ABC and the XYZ cards, except for the copy of X-Cross Cannon. This is a pretty good card to have on your hand. Typically, you just need one copy of one Light Machine Fusion or one Union Monster on the field for this to be special summoned on the field. Now, once this card is on the field, you can use the effect, equip one appropriate Light Machine Monster or Union Monster from your deck to the field. Typically, you can just add whatever card you need to this monster right here as an equip spell summon that monster, and you can go into a copy of your Platinum Gadget to the field. Or whatever combo that you want. Another good starter here is a copy of Union Activation. You dump a copy of X-Head Cannon, get a copy of the X-Cross. Also, Union Hanger is the OG main combo line for this type of deck, of course. Going into a copy of Buster Drake, and then so on and so forth. Attach the Union Driver, banish, and then attach another one. Spell summon, go for the Platinum Gadget. The best part about the monsters here is they are soft once per turn. So you can just spell summon them after you attach them as an equip spell. So that's still pretty good. After a while, I managed to notice that there's some problems with the deck regarding some multiple copies. That tends to come out from time to time, and you don't want to see that one, especially that we're in a format where if you're forced to go second, then typically you need to stop your opponent from doing anything else. So hand traps are very much necessary, but you don't want to exceed more than like a couple of hand traps in your hand. So we are limiting ourselves to like a small engine here that are pretty strong. So I was thinking of 3 minor engines that we can add to this deck that would make this a little bit better. So first and foremost, I was gonna add the Fiendsmith here, but after a while, I think it gets more materials to your main deck here, so I would scratch that one off. So I just settled with a copy of Horus, and then since we still have a little bit of room, we managed to add a couple of cards like the copy of Fenrir and the 2 copies of Unicorn plus the copy of Birth. This is basically enough as a small engine for the Kashtira, and they are pretty much a pretty good engine as well for this deck. I do admit that these 3 cards can sometimes be negated or can force an interruption from your opponent, which is pretty nice. Second of all, we have also Horus. The Mseti, you dump a copy. If ever you have multiple copies of the ABC or XYZ monsters on hand, you can just dump them for a copy of Sarcophagus plus a 1 draw. If this gets ashed, it's not really like a big problem because at least one of those materials for the ABC or XYZ is sent to the graveyard rather than having it to your hand, which in some cases you want it to be in your graveyard so that you can contact fuse for your Dragon Buster or a copy of your Hyper Dragon Cannon, which is what you primarily need. The extra deck, it's basically just one of for the Hyper Dragon Cannon and 1 copy for the Dragon Buster. That's all you need for this deck. I've seen some builds where you're running 2 copies of XYZ. It's not really like a big concerning factor, of course, but you know, extra deck wise, I do consider just one-offs for these lineup here as the optimal way of using your extra deck. But you do need your 2 copies of Union Controller, though. This is a pretty good card to have. 1 copy of Chaos Angel, 1 number 41 Baguska. If your opponent dumps a copy of Maxi, you can just Baguska and pass. Then you can go into Zeus later on, whatever. Or go into a copy of Typhon, because at this point I've seen a lot of people are using Blue Eyes at the current format that we're in, so Typhon is one of those good cards that you can use against them. Also 1 copy of Security Dragon because I needed a level 2 Light Monster that requires 2 monsters for this, and the reason for this is you can go into a copy of Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax as your first Link monster to summon to the field. The next up, you can go into whatever monster you need, possibly the Hyper Dragon Cannon or a copy of Dragon Buster. The ability of this deck to spam to the board and use them as materials is pretty good. I will showcase to you guys some of the replays that I accumulated so far from my ranked gaming. So far it wasn't like totally great though, but there are some good like games so far that we are forced to go first or go second, and then we manage to like win the game. I think so, if I got all the replays correctly. But anyways, take it with a grain of salt, man. This is, I think, the best or optimal way of playing the ABC XYZ deck. Oh yeah, by the way, unauthorized reactivation, if you're wondering why I want this on 2 copies, is because this works the same way as Union Hanger. I do prefer just having a copy of Union Hanger rather than this. Well, since we are lessening the copies of our Union monsters to 1 copy, except for the cannon, Union Hanger is a way better card because it allows you to search and attach 1 card. Way better. You can remove a copy of Harpy's Spare Duster. The reason for having this in the deck is because I've been running up against a ton of stun or Labyrinth decks, so I think having a 1 copy of Harpy's Spare Duster is kind of neat. Some people might not consider of running this because it's just a one-off, but in some cases it's still a pretty good card to have anyways, in case you're going up against decks that has like a couple of back rows that you want to remove. So it's still pretty much reliable in some cases there. So far so good. I do love the deck that I've compiled so far for the ABC XYZ. I had a lot of fun with this deck. But anyways, that is your ABC XYZ deck. I'll showcase you guys the replays. Here you go, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Keep safe, good luck. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Goodbye, guys.